As I look in here, programs that are being created have a currency within this prison. But on the
That's
outside,
hard. Yeah.
that money doesn't mean anything.
And that's the problem.
Are we giving a false hope to a lot of the prisoners in here? Because a lot of what they say is, what was I doing in there? I was told the path to redemption is along this certification process. And then I got out, and this is meaningless. I'm considered a pariah, and I can't move on with my life.
I mean, the stigma is real, but I think the stigma and the internal shame and the internal stigma is even more pronounced. I think you heard from a young man in there, says, I could finally send, he's had his name in a byline of the newspaper, and he sent it to his mom. It's the first time he said his mom's ever been proud of him. That's a kid whose mind is stretched now. It's not about the certificate. It's not even about the program.
Not for him. I mean for the work. He's going to get out.
But what he gets out
Right.
is now all of a sudden he's found something he never thought he had, which is some self-respect, not just self-loathing. Thinks he might actually be worthy. And all of a sudden his mind has shifted. And I see people doing well on the outside across the spectrum. I just hired 2 folks up in Sacramento that are working in an office that spend time quite literally right here that are doing extraordinary work.
You're talking about changing this from a factory into something more human. But you can't treat them as humans when they live in this alien, dehumanizing factory environment. This system isn't built to cherish each individual and get them to see their own worth.
No.
This is built to keep them from killing each other while they're in here.
Correct. But as a society, you're right, we have to actually believe in the core tenets of what we practice in our faith.
Right.
And that's second damn chances and redemption and the ability to turn your life around.
So let's talk about the parole process just very quickly. Within a parole process are a bunch of people that are very familiar with prison culture and very few people familiar with neighborhoods and reintegration.
I deal with 70, 75 paroles every single week. Some of my predecessors didn't even bother to look at them. They rejected every single one. They're tough, and they're folks that are perfect on paper. You look back and say, what the hell did we miss?
Mary Reese, you wanted to commute her sentence. You sent her back to a parole board. She's been in prison for a series of burglaries, not nothing, but clearly not a violent offender.
Right.
She failed her parole hearing based on having borrowed, I think, hair gel from another prisoner and some other things. And on the flip side of it, you have an offender who was let out and killed a police officer.
Yeah, recently. Devastating.
Devastating.
Yeah.
We have a system that cannot tell the difference, and we have a public that demands certainty.
Yeah. And we still have the same dungeness rooms for those 2 perpetrators you just described. One that's benign, not particularly violent, no particularly problematic, and others that have every reason to be considered concerned. We haven't evolved. There's no innovation. We talk about reform. We don't talk about innovation in the criminal justice system.
I mean, here's the problem that you run up against is in that reimagining, you run up against political reality. Simple things like, instead of giving them $200 when they walk out the gate, giving them $1,000 when they walk out the gate, and you guys couldn't do that politically. You vetoed that because I imagine you had to.
Yeah, and well, with a combination of that, and we should have done it through the budget process. By the way, I not only know the realities, that person that killed that police officer, the district attorney, accused me of being responsible for that. I live the realities. I don't know them. It's not intellectual.
That's right.
Living them.
Sure. And that puts you on your heels.
No, it didn't put me on my heels. It actually put me on my toes.
Right. You want reform and you want to be progressive.
I want public safety. I want real public safety. I want people to feel safe. It's about your own self-interest.
Right.
You want to make sure your kids are safe, you're safe. You don't have to turn your head when you're getting the ATM machine. Fundamentally, that's the core.